I Want to Jump Like Dee Dee, with me, Giles Sibbald, is the music podcast that does music a bit differently. I'm talking to some incredible musicians, DJs and producers about how they use an experimental mindset to fuel their own creativity, pursue new challenges, overcome fears, bounce back from mistakes. I've got a feeling that this year is going to be when you hear much more from Lemondaze. And I've also got a feeling, I'm praying actually, that I'm going to actually get to see them live, because I'm ashamed to say that I've failed miserably to do so yet. And that, my dear listeners, probably doesn't surprise you at all. Lemondaze's latest EP is called Celestial Bodies, and it's kind of like a very apt description for the sound, which is this sort of intense reverb, shimmering, thundering psychedelic spacey rock. It's got a bit of My Bloody Valentine, Slowdive, Mogwai, and I'm going to sort of put it out there, a sort of twist of Savages in there as well.
Ooh, I like Savages.
Ooh, like that one. So I'm really happy that Isis de Chastelain is here to talk about their music, life, and mindset. Isis, welcome, and thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited. I've never done a podcast before. So
Is this the first one?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I've done a couple of radio things, but never like a podcast. Always wanted to start one with the others. Like, yeah, guys, let's start a podcast where we just talk about really stupid things. And like, no.
So instead you've got to come on this one and talk about stupid things anyway. So that's
there we go.
Do you know, it's funny, like when I started this about just over a year ago, and I had to be sort of dragged into doing it. I was like, oh no. It's like, why would anybody want to listen to me droning on about stuff? No, I'm going to go out to ask these guests, and they're just going to say no. I'm going to get rejected and all that. And I was just like, I don't want to. And I found every which way not to do it. And my partner's just like, no, you've got to do it. You've got to do it. Just bite the bullet and go and do it. It's a weird thing. And I kind of had to get over all the, rejection and stuff like that. So you should definitely do it, where you're just going to go and talk crap amongst each other. Be brilliant.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like no one would want to listen to it, but it would be funny anyway.
You'd have fun doing it. So it's
yeah.
So what's been happening then? What's been going on for so we're kind of coming out of COVID, and I guess your gigs have been starting up again, and your music and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we had lots of things have happened since COVID. I know lockdown was horrible, but it gave us time to actually finish the EP and get everything moving, get the music video, and just get creative. Like when we went into lockdown, me, Rosie and Jonty were living together. We really didn't do anything creative, but it kind of just gave us time to relax a bit. And once we started coming out of 2020, we started getting everything rolling again, had a nice little break, and we were like, okay, we're going to finish the EP and get everything going. We just got a new manager then as well, Dylan, who's just been amazing for us. Actually, get your asses going, guys. You actually need to do something. Like, okay, yeah. And we also just didn't have a drummer at the time, so that's how we got Finn, who is, I don't know why I'm holding this. It's something.
It's good. No, carry on holding them. We always like a bit of sort of prop work in this anyway. So it's
fun. We found Finn through Dylan, who was managing her other band at the time, who've now split up. But everything just came together right in that moment. And we kind of came into the beginning of 2021, having finished the EP, new drummer, new manager, and like, okay, we can do this now. Yeah. So that's just how everything went. We released the EP, had our first show with Finn, and we've just kind of been going full pelt at it since then. Like when everything opened back up in July, we just went, okay, we're doing it. We're just doing so many gigs this summer, and now coming into this year, like we've done some more recording, and we've just secured so many cool gigs, some of the biggest gigs we've ever had, and the biggest opportunities we've ever had. We just are like, well, we've got to keep going now. We can't
That's
stop.
amazing.
So it's just been amazing for everything to finally come together as we were coming out of lockdown, and to be able to just finally get our music out and just get going. It's just been amazing.
I mean, that's really incredible that it's, you know, you that those things are starting to happen now after, you know, I mean, you know, everybody sort of suffered in lockdown, but for it to finally start happening and to kind of get out of that sort of period, and now it's like, yes, we can, you know, almost like it feels like, you know, you've had, like you said, you know, new manager, new drummer, you know, new lease of life. It's like, come on, let's go and do it now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we weren't struggling before, but I think having a new drummer for every gig, like we did a bunch of shows right at the beginning of 2020, and they were really fun, but I think every single one had a different drummer, and we were struggling to finish recording, and everything was just like, we need to do something. I mean, lockdown really messed everything up, and you know, we had to cancel so many shows, and it wasn't good for anyone apart from Taylor Swift. But you know, I literally love folklore so much, but it was crap. So it was, I guess there was a little bit of good that came from it, being able to actually go like, okay, we've got time where we've not been doing anything, we can actually sit and finish this now. Which was the good news, I guess.
I mean, when you're in lockdown and you said you weren't doing too much, I mean, was that say too much creatively? Was that like you sort of choosing not to, or you just didn't? It just wasn't the right, you know, kind of like, you know, just the whole kind of shit show just made it hard for you to kind of think creatively.
Yeah, it was that one. There was the first lockdown was hard. Rosie went back to her parents. It was just me and John T. And I don't know, I just found myself having like the biggest creative block I've ever had. I was feeling really jealous of people, like, I wrote this and we started a band in lockdown and look at all this art I did. And I was just like staying up till 3 a.m. watching Netflix because I just couldn't get my brain to do anything else. And you know, John T was staying up really late gaming, and he kind of had turned a bit nocturnal, and I was on the opposite cycle, so we would barely even see each other either. Have dinner together and then do our own things. And my Mac actually broke as well. Like just before lockdown started, I was like, great, now I can't use Logic. So I would sit there just strumming my guitar like, I hate this. And so I was like, okay, at least if you don't want to create, maybe still do other things. So I like tasked myself to learn every single Wolf Alice song, and then I posted little snippets of them on Twitter just to record my process. So
brilliant.
So I was trying to do something, but I was just really struggling to create music. I could play. I was having fun jamming out, but
it's funny. I mean, it's just like sort of, you know, things like that though, that, you know, you kind of like learning the Wolf Alice songs. I mean, that's something though, isn't it? You know, you kind of like, I don't know, like almost like you sometimes have to just sort of go right back to basics, if that's the right word, and then just kind of start doing something, and then that just see how it goes after that. You know, I think that's fine.
Yeah, like it was. I say the first lockdown was actually, it wasn't too bad. I came out, did some uni exams, which were all online, and then kind of had the whole time. I wasn't doing anything. My job, my part-time job, they had closed. Like everything was closed then. So I was just doing nothing, and it was fun to be like, hey, I'm gonna spend the entirety of today just learning these 4 songs. So it gave me something to do, And
Yeah.
we, towards the end, we started doing the online pub quizzes with Rosie, and we'd be tasked to like dress up every week with the theme. So
Brilliant.
that was really fun, because it's like, okay, today's Wednesday, which means I have to dress up. So I mean, I love doing anything creative. I like painting, makeup, whatever. So
Yeah.
I come up with all these really elaborate costumes and just sit there like making them throughout the week, so I could then show up in like some crazy drag outfit and be like, ha, I've done something today, and then be really bad at the actual quiz because I'm terrible at that. I don't know anything.
It kind of sort of detracts from it, doesn't it? It's like, okay, well, if I do this, I kind of like, you know, get dressed up in something like really kind of like creative that I've made, and then people maybe won't notice that I'm a bit shit at the quizzes.
Exactly. I didn't win any of them. It was always like the person who won would write the quiz next week, and because I didn't win any of them, they were like, I said, you haven't won yet, but you can do the quiz. You can write the quiz next week anyway, because I hadn't done it yet. So it was actually quite fun writing the quiz. And then I
was just going to say, like, that, you know, the fact that you sort of haven't won it, it's like, no, that's all part of my master plan. I don't have to win it, so I don't have to write the questions next week.
I actually really enjoyed writing the quiz because I just made it as niche as possible.
It's like a proper kind of mastermind one.
Yeah, no one did very well. So I think I just made it too hard. Too niche.
So like, you know, kind of going back to, you know, when you were a kid, I'm just interested in your, you know, kind of formative influences, some of the, you know, things that sort of influenced you when you were a kid, when you were growing up, and, you know, how you've felt your, you know, kind of mindset and sort of identity evolving over the years. This has suddenly got really heavy, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, the doorbell's going, but it stopped. What influenced me? I don't know. I mean, my dad has always like really been into music. My mum just kind of listens to whatever. She's always like, Isis, play the Crazy Diamond song. I'm like, what, Shine On, the Crazy Diamond, that one? She's like, yes. Like,
yeah, that one.
My mum is like, she'll listen to whatever. She's just always in a good mood, and always just like, yeah, let's do it, let's dance, let's do whatever, which she's always like, express yourself, whatever, which is really cool. But my dad was the one that was like into music. So, I mean, his favorite band's Pink Floyd, and I mean, I've always really liked them. I mean, any of the albums that were released in the 70s, they're fine. Some of their other albums, not for me, but
not so much.
Not so much. My dad was just so into music, and I was always really into guitar music and stuff like that because of him. I mean, he was like Genesis though, but but yeah, like as a kid, my mum was always she was telling me like, oh, Isis, you know, you were literally 3 years old and you knew all of the words to S Club 7 and you loved Kylie, and I was like, nah, that sounds like me. Like I was always singing and just dance, and not very well. I really can't dance, but I was just always a very creative, like expressive kid. I loved painting and drawing. I think that was the thing for me at first, was I really wanted to do art and follow that. And I just do everything. I was this weird, like, I guess tomboy is not really the word you use anymore, but that was what everyone used to call me. And I was like this little tiny kid, and I was just dancing and screaming and climbing trees and playing football and playing in the mud and just being just a complete idiot all the time. But I was also like really, really shy. At home I do whatever with my friends, but at school, if a teacher like asked me a question, I'd just be like, I was like filled with anxiety as a kid, and I was so shy, and I would just clam up all the time. Like my dad once said that I'd be scared alone in a room with a Swiss cheese plant, I was like, yeah, you're not wrong. I
Yeah.
have a Swiss cheese plant now, and I can confirm not scared. So I beat him. But yeah, I was just, and I mean, I still have anxiety anyway, but
Mm.
I was just so shy of everything. And
Yeah.
I mean, you know, at home I do what I want and just paint and draw and scream. And I got my first guitar when I was 10.
Mm.
I begged for one for ages, and I finally got. It was like a little classical nylon string
Wow.
thing that I
Amazing.
couldn't play for years. I was really bad at it. And then yeah, when I got to secondary school, I decided to take music GCSE. I was like, oh, I can do this, and that's when I really was like, oh, like I can write music and I can play it. I'm not actually bad at this, you know. And I used to sit in the practice room with my friends. We were supposed to be practicing our pieces, but we would just sit and like mess around and listen to music together. And I was like, I just want to be in a band so bad.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, like being able to perform in secondary school and actually start doing that, I was like, oh my God, I want to do this. This is sick. And I kind of actually started to come out of myself and stop being this scared little thing in the corner like all the time. Like I was thinking about this earlier, like when I got to sixth form, I did music production for a year, and that's how I met Rosie. And the first day I met her, I had her come in and play some guitar for me while I recorded, and I was just so scared of her. I couldn't even look her in the eyes. I was like, just like, just like,
why
hey,
was
Rosie,
that?
I was just so terrified of everyone and everything. I just couldn't do it. Like, I never played a gig at that point yet, and I was still like, I'm getting there, but I was terrified of Rosie. I know why, but
did the you know when you said that you when you got your guitar, you realized that, hey, actually, you know, I can write some tunes, I can write songs, and that kind of like that gave you the kind of confidence, gave you some sort of confidence to then. Right, so I guess it's like finding that, okay, this is what I can do. This there's an ability here, and it's like, oh yeah, do you know what? I can do this, and then that kind of forms the idea about being in a band and things like that.
Yeah, like I think there was some. I tried to be in some bands like after I left secondary school, like just after year 11, but nothing really came to fruition until I met Rosie actually.
Yeah.
Which was very early into sixth form. So we met when we were 16. So we've been friends for ages now. And, you know, Rosie was also like a really anxious person. And so we were just kind of, after I got over the fact I was terrified of her, we were like, we should, you know, bypassing all the weird things that happened. In the end, we like the idea like, oh, we should actually be in a band. Like we both like the same bands. We both play guitar, both sing, like we could do this. And we were both terrified, but I think it's something that we always wanted to do. So, you know, we were terrified when we played our first gig. I was shaking. And I think for a while after that, I was still like, I think I went up on stage, was like, sorry, we're shit. They're sorry, we're terrible. Sorry, I can't sing. I'm like, I never dream of doing that now. I just let people form their own opinions about if we're terrible.
It's interesting that's like that. I know exactly what you mean about, you know, about the like the shyness. I mean, I was the same. I was incredibly shy when I was a kid, and you know, even now I've never lost it, and there's some, you know, kind of situations that I'm in that I'd rather not be in. Do you know what I mean? You just think, oh, I'm really uncomfortable. I'd just rather not be here. And it's that kind of shyness. But it's interesting what you say about the almost like you saying really sorry. I know we're shit, you know, but it's like, I know exactly what you mean. It's not like that kind of like self-deprecation, isn't it?
Oh
You know,
yeah.
yeah, I've done that as well. It's like a way of deflecting, isn't it? You know, from yourself. You try and use a bit of humor, put yourself down, but you know, it's the shyness and anxiety, isn't it?
Oh yeah, self-depreciating humor is something I've always used. Like I'm still, like you say, like you are in situations and you're really shy and anxious about it. I still can get that all the time.
Get that? Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I can go and perform in front of people and like do some weird stuff. I don't really care about that now. But like social situations, I'm still so anxious. Like I I work at Pizza Hut and I work in the kitchen because I don't want to talk to anyone.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're like, "Oh, so you need to go out front. We need you right now. You know how to do this because you're frustrated. You can be a server." I'm like, "No, don't make me talk to people.
Don't want to do that." Yeah.
I just, if I'm meeting new people or I'm around people I don't know so well, or just in any situation, I'm like, I've real bad social anxiety.
I remember. I read there's a book by Lizzie Goodman, and it's called "Meet Me in the Bathroom," and it's about the that period in New York from kind of like 98 to about sort of 2005, when there was bands like The Strokes, Interpol, Yeah Yeahs, and LCD Sound System, and bands like that. And there was an interview with Karen O, and she said exactly what you were saying, that sort of on stage she was just like this kind of like no persona that was like there were no fears, no kind of like, you know, just very outgoing, you know, sort of in your face. Off stage, like completely sort of shy and sort of like did not want to be around anybody, you know, it's just like too shy to kind of speak to people, you know. But it was like the thing that motivated her was just like the desire to, in fact, I think her a brilliant quote was something, it was about stagnation, that it was just sort of like, almost like the fear of stagnating was higher than the anxiety of getting on stage. She just always wanted to kind of be out there and be creating. That was her real motivator.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I feel like I kind of feel a bit the same. Like I do separate my on stage and regular person persona. It's like a drag performance, maybe. Like I go up on stage and I'm wearing like a nice cool outfit maybe, and I've done my makeup all really cool, and then like we're all the same. We're all quite shy people. We're all kind of like most of the time, and so when we go up on stage and like stomp and jump into the crowd and I know just go a bit mad, because it's like it's what we love to do. Like it's something we find so fun now. I love being on stage and I can talk to a crowd and stuff. But when people come up to me afterwards and they're like, "Oh, you're great," I'm like, "Thank you." I'm just gonna go sit in the corner now with the other three.
Back to me.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like a totally different person if I'm on stage. I can be that person around my friends. I know them so well, but it's like, just any other situation, I'm like,
it's really weird how you know, sort of getting on stage or doing any sort of public performance sort of affects people, and you're excited to sort of do it. I did one of my first episodes of this podcast was with Jennifer Finch from L7, and she'd said that she's brilliant, and she was like terrific. It was just a brilliant chat with her. But she said that her big thing was like stage anxiety. She had incredible like anxiety, like she could not get on the stage. She was just so anxious to do it, and she had to like years of kind of therapy and coaching herself to actually sort of do it. And of course, like you look at her on stage and you think, fucking hell, wow, she's just like so confident and stuff, but what's going on underneath is very different.
That's crazy. Like you just don't think it happens to people that you see go on stage and like, oh, they're tearing it up. They must be really confident people, and then actually they're really shy, you know.
So
But
how did
I get it. Oh no, that was it.
I was going to say, like, just talking about your sort of guitar style. How did that sort of evolve?
I think
Was
it was
just natural.
Oh well, I mean, it definitely because of a little band called Slowdive. I mean, someone told me to listen to them, and I clicked on When the Sun Hits, and this was like when I just started sixth form, and I'd only known Rosie for a little while, and we'd become really good friends because we like the same bands and stuff. So I was like, oh, I should definitely like this. So I sent it to Rosie, and I was like, if we're going to make music, we should make music like this.
Like this.
But I'd never heard of anything like it before. I knew that I was looking for something like that. I think as I was sitting next to my friend and I was typing in sad grunge songs to listen to. And he was like, what? Just listen to this. And I was like, okay. And that's exactly what I wanted to listen to. And so I started listening to the other kind of big shoegaze bands like MBV and Ride and all that. And I was like, hey, wait, Wolf Alice kind of sound a bit like this too, and this band do, and this band too. I was like, oh, this is kind of like it's a very like diverse influence genre of music. I mean, at first we were writing really terrible songs, but I think over time, I don't know, I just wanted to create that really thick, heavy sound where it's dreamy and ethereal, but there's like, it hits you in the face. Like it's very full of textures, but there's just a lot going on. And I think I became a bit of a gear nerd pretty quickly. And
did you?
I was like, oh, I need to buy pedals. I need to buy loads of pedals. And I don't know, I just like making my guitar sound as much not like a guitar as possible. I don't want it to be like, I don't want it to sound like just a distorted strat or something. I want it to be, it just sound interesting. I just really like experimenting with different sounds and styles and layering and just seeing what I can come up with and just weird techniques and stuff.
Before I forget, I don't know if you saw that Brick Smith is is collaborating with Debbie Googe from MBV.
No.
Yeah, they've just announced it. I think they're doing some shows in the next few weeks. I can't remember where. But yeah, I think I forget who else is in the band as well, but certainly Bricks and Debbie, which is going to sound amazing.
Okay, I'm gonna
have a look at that. Have a look at that one. But interesting what you're talking about. Going back to what you're talking about, sort of experimenting with your guitar sound. It's very, and I mentioned in the intro about Savages, and I see sort of similarities of what you're talking about and how you play with Gemma Thompson from Savages, because she's very experimental, and I don't know if you've heard her group Bashan. They do some really experimental, almost like kind of drone music with some drone and sort of ambient, but she really experiments with her guitar sound. She's not afraid to really try things out, which I think is brilliant. I love that idea.
Yeah, I used to listen to Savages quite a lot. I think Rosie introduced me to them, and I really love that like really feral side.
Yeah.
And they're really cool. They played the Junction in Cambridge actually, but I did not go, and this was when they just released their second album. I kind of regretted it, to be honest. I don't know. I think I don't know. I mean, Kevin Shields is obviously a big inspiration. I mean, I don't actually use glide guitar in any of our stuff because I don't actually. Rosie has the Jazz Master. I don't have one, but I'm mostly influenced by Joff from Orvelis, actually. I talk about them a lot because they're absolutely one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, for sure.
They know this. Yeah. But like I think what Joff does is insane. Like he is probably a personal guitar hero of mine. Like I think what he comes up with, like they've got such a diverse diverse range of music. Like all their albums sound different, and they've got elements from folk to shoegaze to grunge to punk. They've got like everything, and this he's like a mastermind. And he had a rig rundown. I think it's Premier Guitar rig rundown.
Yeah.
Magazine, and I watched it, and it's like 40 minutes long. He's talking about all his pedals. I'm like, oh, I need.
Oh wow! Yeah,
and just like it's just very clever. The kind of it's very very nuanced. The kind of things that he does. There's things in there that you're like not actively listening to the textures of the music, but they are there. If you took them away, you'd notice. Like especially when I was learning all of the songs as well, I was like, oh, this is super clever, and creating all the sounds that he uses. Like, oh, you know, this is some really technical stuff going on, but it sounds really really cool. Especially I was learning Sad Boy is one of my favorite songs of theirs, and the tone on that song is insane. I had my pedal chain, and I had like 8 pedals, and some of the multi effects ones with several chains going on in there. I was like, oh, this is sick. Like I just recreated this thing, and it sounds so cool. And
then you're thinking, right, how did I do that? I have no idea. I can't remember.
I don't remember how I did that now, but yeah, I do that all the time. Like, what sound did I use for this song that I wrote 3 years ago? I don't remember. Yeah, one day I really love to have a chat with him one day and just nerd out over guitars and pedals and gear, because he's a bit of a guitar genius. I love to pick his brain and know what's going on inside his head.
Would you do some collaborations? You know, like with other, you know, either guitarists or sort of other musicians.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd love to. Just there's so many people I feel like I want to work with you. I want to work with you. Like my friend Ollie, he is in a band which we hung out the other day, and we were going around the guitar shops looking for the new Space Echo, and I was like, yeah, Ollie's in a band too, and he has to go, yeah, my band's just my name, and they're like, what's your name? He's like, Oliver Beardmore. And I made him say it, you have to say it like 3 times. Yeah, he does his own, it's solo stuff, and I really want to work with him, because he's also a massive gear nerd, and we like hang out quite a bit, and I'm going to be doing something with him on Thursday, and we had a jam, so it'd be really nice to like write some stuff with him. And I was just talking about it before we called. Really want to do some stuff with Bug Teeth. Like we've been friends for years, and we keep saying like, we never did the thing we were gonna do. I'm like, yeah, no, I just don't see each other much anymore. But like, I've always been down for collaboration.
Yeah.
Whether that's just like a feature on a song or whatever, or you know, having a little super group, or doing a new thing, or working with producers and stuff. I think collaboration's really cool, because you just have so many different ideas going on, even collaborating with the other 3. Like they're going to do something that you're not going to do, and they'll have a different viewpoint on anything, because their creative mindsets are different from yours. So absolutely cool.
I think that's it, you know, where you've got your you've got your bandmates and people, you know, involved in the band, and you know, the important thing is like having the right mindset, isn't it? You know, just being, and also I think, you know, having the right, you know, kind of environment of the band, that, you know, you can come with different ideas. You know, you're not going to be shot down. You just sort of come with ideas, and like basically everything is put on the table, and it's like, yeah, okay, let's kind of listen to that. You know, there are no kind of limitations. Once you have that, it's kind of like it's like the right kind of environment for it.
Yeah, we're just like, I mean, we've known each other ages now. Like, we're so open with each other. If we don't like something, we're gonna say. And you know, I'm always throwing around demos to them, and they're like, we can work on this, we can do this. And now that, you know, Finn's in the band too, like she's been in the band pretty much a year now, and like, it's been so nice to have someone who's she's become like one of my best friends, and I love her to pieces. And we had our first practice with her last year for our EP release gig, and we just like, you know, you just meet someone and it's like you just straight away click, and it happened. And we never had that before with a drummer, because we'd have people come and go and fill in, and it made us so happy to be able to find that really special person that you've been looking for.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, we're all such good friends now, and we recorded in December. We did 2 new songs, and it was so nice to have her actually play on something and have her influence on the songs. And now we're all like, okay, we've got some songs maybe that we can do for another EP. Like, let's get in a room for a weekend and we can finish writing them. And she has such a good mindset towards writing, and it's just very refreshing to have someone who actively wants to participate in the band.
Well, it's kind of like it's for one thing, it's you know, it gives you some stability in the band, and it's one less thing that it kind of like frees that space in your mind that you don't have to worry about where the next drummer is coming from, where you're gonna have to find another drummer. It's like, oh god, right, that's a thing I've got to think about, which takes up brain space and all that. And now you've got Finn in that is kind of taken away, and the fact that you get on so well is just so good for you.
We're all like feel like a proper little family now. I know I've known Rosie and Jonty for years, but like having Finn, it just completes us. And
so I mean, just you've just reminded me, just sort of talking about collaborations again. There's this sort of industrial hip hop band called Dialect. I don't know if you've heard of them. It's basically Dalek with an umlaut on the A.
Okay.
From New Jersey. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. This real kind of like wall of sound hip hop.
That's
very cool. Slow. It's really good. They've got a new album coming out at the end of April, and one of the songs, Adam Jones from Tool is playing on it, and his kind of guitar sound for that is just phenomenal. I was lucky enough to get a preview of it, and it's like super good. I mean, that sort of blend of hip hop really kind of like I love that. But you know, that again, going back to collaboration, I think, you know, that those kind of things just add this extra kind of dimension where you can kind of learn from somebody as massive as you know, as Adam in Tool as well. It's just like phenomenal. Anyway,
it's insane.
So good, isn't it? So like for you know, do you rely, would you say, a lot on your sort of gut instinct? Does that play a big part in how you know, either live your life, play your music, create?
Well, I don't know about.
Or do you think things through a lot?
Oh, I think about everything too much, I think. I was just going back to, I'm just always in my head, and everything's just going around all the time. I'm always like, is this a good idea? Is this not a good idea? What do I do? I'm very like, I'm one of those people that really needs to talk through things with someone. It really helps me unpick my brain if I can chat with someone about how I'm feeling, or if I'm confused about something. I'm not a spontaneous person. I don't do things on a whim usually. I have to think about things. Unless I know that something is very like, sometimes I get a feeling like this is very right and this is very wrong. It doesn't happen often, but I'm very thinking about things a lot and in my life. But I don't know, maybe when it comes to music, I usually just let it
Just let it go.
I'm not.
Yeah, it happens.
I don't try to overthink music because then I just won't. I just can't do it.
Mm.
There's songs that I've been writing for, I don't know, 3 years, and come back to the project that I have on Logic in my little demo, and
Yeah.
I think this is really cool, and I maybe add a little bit, and I'm like, yes, and then I sit there for another hour. I'm like, can't do any more. I don't know what to do, and close it again. I feel like too under pressure if I think about music too much.
Too much. Yeah.
And I just know when to stop. I think if I'm writing a song and I've kind of been like, I don't like this, I just suck it onto the next one. I'm very like, I don't know what I want with music. Don't know what I want with anything else. I feel like music's like, it feels like an instinct somehow.
Yeah.
Like
and how does that sort of relate to like the your lyrics, in terms of the themes that interest you and that you sort of want to write about? Where do you kind of take your inspiration from?
So I mean, lyrics can be totally meaningless and absolutely random and nothing, or they can be like extremely thoughtful. And as I don't know, songs like Twin Paradox, like I even wrote most of that in a day, and I was very in on the instrumental of that and how that was feeling. And then I came to the lyrics, I was like, this, the way it sounds invokes this kind of floating feeling, but I don't really know what to say. And I was just kind of just wrote something a bit random. The lyrics don't necessarily mean anything. They kind of just, this sounds maybe stupid, but they mean a feeling. They just mean what the song sounds like to me.
Yeah. Sense. No, it does actually. Yeah, no, it does make sense totally.
So there's some stuff that's just a bit like, the song is a theme as opposed to like a description. Like it just, this song means space, or this song means moon. It's like the whole thing. But then there's other songs where I really, I've been feeling something and I've just written it down and like, this is perfect, and it goes with this instrumental super well, and it fits. So it can be anything. I write about anything, like just because some of the lyrics are kind of a bit nonsensical. Like I can write about the moon or something like that, but something about how much I love someone.
I like what you were saying there about the, it's like almost like the lyrics kind of represent the music, or in some way. And again, go back to this band Dialect. When I was talking to Will, he said that for a lot of his fans sort of outside the US, I mean, I think that they're pretty big in France, sort of continental Europe. And so we have a lot of fans where English is not their first language, and maybe don't necessarily hear the content, the lyrical content as much as people using language where English is their first language. He said that I think that they really feel the music. It's almost like they sort of feel it, and they take the meaning from it that they will.
Yeah.
It's the feeling, and the lyrics are almost like inside the music, which I guess is similar to what you're saying.
Yeah, like I definitely think that's how I feel. I like to create. I like to make something that gives me a feeling. Like I want it to represent. Yeah, I want people to feel a certain way when I write a song. I don't want it to just like sound good. I think the whole thing is a feeling. There's textures and there's different things going on. The lyrics mean whatever they mean, but I'm very big on just having music invoking big feelings, because I like to listen to music that makes me have big feelings. And I listen to a lot of really sad shit. Every time I listen to Phoebe Bridgers a lot, and I'm like, every time I listen, but I like that. I like to really feel something when I listen to music. So I want to make something like that, as opposed to, oh, this riff sounds cool. Like, yeah, that's all well and good, but I want someone to, I want to make someone cry. You know.
Cry from emotion or from the pain of volume at your gigs as well, or both?
Cry because it's just too loud and they get deaf. I don't know.
It's I mean that, you know, that idea. I mean that your sound as well. You know, like we said at the start. You know, it's extremely powerful. It's you know, kind of like invokes like so many, you know, kind of feelings and sort of emotions when you hear it, you know, because of these sort of textures and layers that you're sort of putting around it. It's you know, dreamy is not the right word, because it's much more powerful than that. You know, but you know, that whole kind of experience of being surrounded by that sound, you know, is powerful in itself. You're almost like, you know, I'm not going to say that lyrics are not important, but the sound just does invoke those kind of feelings. I don't know what those feelings are, but it definitely does, for sure.
Yeah, it's just like just feeling something. I just like, and I really like people to take their own kind of meaning from stuff as well.
Yeah.
They think, take what they want from it and have their own feelings about what it means for them, I think. Because, you know, sometimes songs can be very direct, and that's not like a bad thing. Like, you listen to a song, like, oh, it's about this, so kind of, and everyone takes their own things from it, but I like it to be a bit, I like the meaning to remain like undisclosed.
Undisclosed, yeah. And I like that idea, you know, where the, you know, the listeners can, you know, interpret it how they want. I mean, that actually, you know, that can be sort of quite powerful as a, you know, as a way of getting people to think for themselves, you know, because you know, there's so much that we, you know, these days that we get fed, you know, someone's like just sort of like a sponge of soaking up this stream of shit that we kind of get. You know, it's like, well, you know, you're encouraging people to, I don't know, I may be over theorizing this, but you know, getting people to think for themselves about what it means to them. I think that could be quite powerful.
I don't know, I just like stuff to be a bit open-ended. Like, sometimes I'm not even sure what my lyrics mean. I'm like, I've just written some words, and it's not that it doesn't mean nothing. Like, it obviously has a certain, it has a meaning, it has an emotion, and it has the feeling of what I've written, and I kind of know what that means to me. But there are other songs where I've written that are like really deeply personal and have deep meanings with the lyrics, and still I rather not, like, you know, people always ask, like, what does your song mean, what do these lyrics mean, blah blah blah, and I don't know, I like to leave it up for interpretation. I like people to be not that anyone probably knows what any of our lyrics are, because no one can tell, but like I like to be a bit of a sleuth about it, you know. I like that, you know, if I'm listening to something, I'm like, oh, I wonder what that means, and kind of just go and look up what the lyrics are and think, that, and I just find that quite interesting. Maybe it's because I have that view myself. I like to make things a bit, you know, leave things open-ended for people.
Yeah. Well, don't ask me. I don't know. I only wrote the lyrics. I have no idea what they mean.
I'm not answering that question. Sorry, guys. I'm not telling you.
So, like, when you're, I mean, how do you feel? You know, given that you sort of, you have a tendency to sort of think things through. You know, if things don't go right, for you, you know, that, you know, something you, how do you feel? Do you get frustrated? Do you, or do you, are you kind of quite pragmatic in how you deal with those setbacks?
It depends what it is.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah, if it's something very important, I tend to linger on it quite a while. Some things some things are definitely more important than others. I failed. I didn't fail, but I did really badly in my A levels, and I was not great. I was very upset about that, and because it was so important, I thought that would just mess up everything, and you know, and it was. I felt really bad that morning, opening up my results and seeing bad grades, and I worked hard. I struggle with exams, you know, crazy amount of anxiety. I'm dyslexic. Not everyone has great exams. I'm definitely one of those people. And one of the ones that had a crazy amount of coursework on. I didn't do coursework. I did really well in that A level, but I did really badly in the rest. And so I sat there on results day like, I'm not getting into uni, and it was all cycling around in my head. I was like, none of my offers have come through. I'm going to be stuck working at Pizza Hut forever. And I was like really wrapped up in my own head, just like going round and round. And I was panicking. I was freaking out. And like an hour later, an offer popped up from the uni that I wanted to go to. And they were like, yes, you can do the degree you want to do, but you just have to do a foundation year. And I was like, oh, it's actually just fine. Like I sometimes really overreact in certain cases. I'm like thinking the world is ending. Like the other day we thought John T had COVID again, and I was like, oh, we've done it, because we have like a really important gig on Saturday, and we're like, oh, everything's got to be fine. Like we're gonna have to find a and then that evening he was like, oh, it's a false alarm. I was like, oh, it's fine. Like I just
oh my god,
too much. It's because I overthink stuff so much.
I hear you with that, totally.
Like I think I let it, if something bad happens, I just let it continue going in my brain, and that's why I find it so easy to like talk to people about it. I just can't let it go around in my head. I'll go and talk to Rosie about something and be like, this is happening, and she's like, it's actually fine. I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it now. I get too stuck in the thing that's gone wrong, as opposed to what is actually, it can be just something really menial, but I've like completely overreacted.
Yeah. No, I hear with that. It's a struggle. It really is tough to sort of get out of your own mind, get out of your own brain, your own these sort of like, I don't know, kind of like trenches that we can get in to get out of that. It's hard.
Yeah, it's a cycle. It's not really a healthy way of thinking about things, and I'm like aware of it, and I'm trying to be like, you know, can you see the good in this situation? I really have to think, like, just stop and actually think about what's happening, as opposed to just going full flight and panicking. Like, just think about it, because most of the time if something goes wrong or there's a setback, it's not actually that big of a deal. Like,
it's not. No, I know. Well, this is the thing, you know. There are. I know somebody like, and this kind of like over catastrophization of things. It's like, you know, as soon as something happens that you're not expecting, you move to that catastrophe mode. It's like direct to there. It's like that kind of Monopoly thing of going directly to jail. It's like, oh my god, you don't need to, but it's really hard to train yourself not to do that. It's you know.
Sometimes I'm like, I really just need to be grounded right now, and I'm really grateful that I have a bunch of friends who are like, if I just really need to talk through something, they'll always be there to listen and can like just help me contextualize.
It's really important. Yeah, exactly the right thing.
I struggle to just see things clearly a lot of the time, and it's just nice to be able to have someone to help me talk through things, because once I get it out, I'm like, oh, I didn't see that now. It's putting the pieces together I find quite hard sometimes.
Totally. I think sometimes, you know, just our kind of like whole world, there is quite a lot of negativity in it, and sometimes that just sort of sinks in, and it's hard to see positives in things. Sometimes it's a tough world. But I think what you're doing there, what you said there about, you know, your friends and, you know, people that you trust and talking it through, really, you absolutely spot on. Really important.
Yeah,
really right.
It's just really important to have people that you trust and you love and have good relationships and friendships.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I have like a few like super close friends that I trust them with anything, you know?
I mean, I've sort of found over the years as I've sort of got older that number sort of decreases as well. That you know, you become sort of closer to some people, and also that you know, your friendships sort of change over time and over the years as your own self evolves as well, I suppose. You know, your friendships change, your relationships change.
Yeah.
But you know, there are some that you'll always know that are the right ones, and the ones that will stick with you through everything as well.
Yeah. You know? Yeah, it's important. Yeah, and I've never had like, I was never really very popular anyway. Like, I've never had a crazy amount of friends, but I've always like had the people that I was like super close with, like a handful of people are like, like these are the good ones, you know.
These are the ones that you need to keep close. Yeah. Isis, thank you so much. Brilliant. Well, that was absolutely wonderful for your first podcast. That was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I wanted to say so much. I don't know what was going on. I've had a really nice chat.
Yeah, it's been great.
Thanks for listening to the show, and I really hope that you enjoyed it and that you'll tune in for the next episode. In the meantime, it would be really awesome if you could rate and review the show, and also share it with any friends who you think might enjoy it.